Hello and welcome to Maldorma TV. This is episode 14 and I'm Tobias Alver.
And I'm Magnus. And in this episode we're going to describe a very powerful event that we went through this summer.
Yeah.
And it started after our first ayahuasca experience that we talked about in the previous episode.
Yeah.
And basically what happened during the ayahuasca experience was that prior to the ayahuasca experience we had a lot of powerful spiritual experiences that we have talked about throughout this podcast series. But something happened with the ayahuasca experience. We kind of experienced a transformation that we hadn't really experienced on other psychedelics.
Yeah, it felt like something, for me at least, I felt like this was the beginning of something, a long path, a spiritual path. This was the mark of the real beginning of it.
Yeah.
And there had been a significant change within you as well.
Yeah, and also we experienced some, I don't really remember, but on the ayahuasca experience, something happened during the actual experience as well, where I remember thinking that during the experience, I thought I was enlightened. But then when I came back the day after, I realized, I wasn't enlightened. But something happened that was more powerful than the previous experiences that we have had. And as I said, it's also had a transformation within, where I could notice that the weeks and months after the ayahuasca experience, it was much easier for me in my everyday life to focus on God and experience kind of powerful states of mind during the weeks.
Yeah, feeling a connection with people, one thing that was really big for me after ayahuasca was that it felt like my heart had opened up.
Yeah.
Like I was experiencing love on a whole new level. Just on everyday things like seeing coworkers, seeing friends and family. Like my heart really opened up and I started feeling much more love in my life.
Yeah, that's exactly what I felt. My heart opened up.
Yeah.
And also during the ayahuasca experience, I received this powerful technique that I described in the previous episode and that ended up being a book about love and happiness that I wrote, where I channeled this technique on how you can create love and happiness in your life and in other people's lives as well. And I started to apply that technique at the school I was working at, and it really transformed me and my students, and created this really love and joyful environment at the school that was really powerful. So I started really to see big effects in my everyday life.
Yeah, it was, I remember when you told me the story, first when you said the technique, it sounded really good.
Yeah.
But then when you also said that you had applied it to in real life and tried it with people and you saw the result it was giving.
Yeah, and the results in the students, this was children.
Yeah.
And the results were immediate. From the very first day I started using it, and I started working with this technique for a few months more, and it was just mind-blowing how well it worked on me and on them as well. So the ayahuasca experience was really a game changer in many ways. And after this, during this summer, after the ayahuasca experience was during the previous winter, I think.
Yeah.
About a year ago or something like that. Less than a year ago, but roughly a year ago. Yeah. And in this summer that came, during the ayahuasca experience, we also met a few new friends, other people attending the ayahuasca ceremony. And we started to keep in contact with these people.
Yeah.
And also, you and I also continued our personal journeys.
Yeah.
And I started to channel information about having an event with these people, group of people. And I remember during a previous episode, I don't remember which one, I remember that you and I talked about how one of my experiences on psilocybin mushrooms, I had contact with God, and he gave me the opportunity to wake up, basically, with the help of psychedelics. But I couldn't do it because I wasn't ready. And during this summer, I smoked cannabis and channeled information that was a kind of expansion of this concept. So during this summer, during one of my own sessions by myself, I channeled information where the information was like this. If you use psychedelics several days in a row, and during the sessions, you focus as much time as you possibly can towards God. And you do this day after day after day. That might lead you to become enlightened.
Yep.
That was the information that I channeled, that you can use psychedelics to become fully enlightened by doing it over extended period of time and have, focus towards God during the whole time.
And for me, I think this is the process that goes without psychedelics as well. If you just focus on God and bring God into your life, without sounds religious, but if that's the process that you go through, that you keep your focus on God and you just channeling God day for day to day, eventually that will be your state of being. But I certainly see the point with using psychedelics, because at least for it heightens the experience, it heightens the feelings, it heightens the sensations. So it's much easier to use it as a tool to bring you into this state of being.
And we talked about this several times, that what it's all about basically is the more focus you put all over focus all the time on God, it will accelerate your awakening, basically. So you can do it through meditation and mantras, but the specific information that I channeled this summer was that if you use this technique with psychedelics and over several days, you might go so deep that you actually wake up. So it's a tool that, and I never heard about this technique, but of course we was very curious. And also one of our new friends, Niklas, that we met during the ayahuasca ceremony, he also channeled information on during his own personal experiences sessions. And he had channeled similar experiences. So we kind of decided that, well, perhaps we should give it a try.
I think we also had prior to this, we had an experience with psilocybin. Where I think I remember a quite cool experience I had back then. But the theme on that experience, on that session with psychedelics, was that it's time to wake up. And I just remember, if you have read the autobiography of a yogi, there's a guru called
Yogananda Paramasanda.
But his guru was, or his guru's guru rather, was Lahiri Mayasaya. I'm not sure if I say that correct. But I just remember during my experience that he came to me and he's like, do you want to come along with my experience of awakening? And I was like, tempting, but still I had this feeling that I'm supposed to follow my own path. I'm sure that it would have been a great offer, but something, it was just a cool experience. And I think during this evening as well, you specifically said that, well, now it's starting to become time to wake up.
More and more information during our experiences was focused on it's going to happen. It's about time. And I also remember during the ayahuasca experience, the second night, and we talked about this in the previous episode, that one of the messages that I got was that you have to kind of choose an idea on how you want to wake up, and then manifest that. And now I was given, through this channeling, a specific idea on how to do it. So having this 1 week, it ended up when we started planning with our friends that, okay, we will meet during 1 week and take psychedelics every day. Or at least for 5 days, I think we said. For 5 days, and take psychedelics for 5 days straight and focus on God in different ways and see what happens, basically. So this was the plan. And all the channelings that we had prior to this kind of said that, yeah, something will happen. And I was really excited and I wanted to try it out and see what happened. But yeah, so we planned it.
Yeah, and I have to admit I was a bit skeptical, to be honest, because when you had this experience, I'm sure that you were very convinced by it.
Yeah.
But I hadn't had it myself, and was like, okay, we're gonna take psychedelics for 5 days and we're gonna wake up. Okay, let's see what happens. But
yeah,
I was very skeptical towards it.
And I was also struggling with the idea of using, this shortcut tool to actually wake up fully, become enlightened.
Yeah.
Because I never heard about it and I didn't know it was possible. But I was also open to the idea that times are changing and the overall vibration on Earth is also higher these days than they used to be. So because I had channeled this information as well, that it's easier to wake up now these days, and if you use this technique you can kind of come up to the high vibration where it's you kind of switch over, and that would be very hard to do just hundreds of years ago. Because the overall vibration of humanity was lower. So I was open to the idea that, well, perhaps this will actually work. And during one of the experience as well on mushrooms earlier, I think we talked about this too, that it also has to do with your definition. If you think it's possible, well, it's possible. If you don't think it's possible, then it's not, because you create your own reality, basically. So it depends on your belief system. So, but more and more information was gathering before this event was going to take place, and more things started to come to me, and I don't think we need to go into all the details, but we did this experiment this summer.
Yeah, and we gathered the same group, pretty much the same group as we had during the ayahuasca session. So it was really nice just to see all the people that you have.
Except the shaman and her assistant.
Yeah. So, and we had I think I liked the way we did it as well, because we didn't just meet up and take psychedelics. We did it as a full day retreat from morning until you wake up, until you go to bed. It was focus on God, doing meditation, doing yoga, doing mantras,
breathing exercises.
Yeah, so we try to just do as much as possible. Just try to take advantage of every single minute throughout the day.
And when we hanged out, we kind of discussed and talked about spirituality. So we had a full time focus on God, even when we wasn't on psychedelics.
Yeah,
and we decided to start off kind of light with only cannabis, and then take psilocybin mushrooms the second day, the third day ayahuasca, and then psilocybin on the fourth day, and I think we used cannabis on the fifth day. Yeah, if I remember correctly.
Could be.
So the first day. What happened the first day?
We went for cannabis.
Yeah.
And I think I just remember that we had done a breathing exercise to begin with before we started. And I think that really accelerated the cannabis experience, or it was just the energy in the room lifting the vibration. But for me, just by smoking cannabis that evening, it felt almost as strong as an ayahuasca session.
Yeah.
It was really powerful. So, at least for me in the beginning, it was, really powerful. And I just remember sitting down, trying to meditate and go deeper and deeper within myself. And just came to the point where I just found the emptiness, like the stillness within me.
Yeah.
And I just remember I went into that stillness and just sat in the vibration of this stillness. And there I experienced, I don't know, if I would have put a word to it, I would say it felt enlightening to be in this state of vibration.
Yeah.
And it felt like everything was flowing through me. I didn't have to think about anything. It just, everything that came out of my mouth was just, it felt like it was just, I was talking from this stillness, this void within me. I wasn't in my normal ego self, at least there for a moment. So that was a cool experience.
Yeah, and for me, the first night was pretty much like any other cannabis session for me. I went up in vibration, I channeled some information, had some experiences, but it wasn't a breakthrough experience in that sense. So, but this was only the first day. I think you had a much more powerful experience than I had. Pretty much a breakthrough experience.
Yeah, it felt like a full breakthrough experience, and it was similar to what I had experienced on the ayahuasca, where during the ayahuasca as well, I also felt the stillness. Like I didn't speak much. I just sat there and just looked around and just I noticed that my body language changed. My thoughts weren't there as usual. I was just sitting there, vibrating into this,
absorbed in the now.
Yeah, and I just remember a really cool thing. It was almost like I went back in time, or back in time, but I experienced a previous a lifetime.
Okay.
Where either it was just what I saw through my third eye, or it was something that had actually happened in a previous life. But I experienced myself sitting on the top of a mountain in the Himalayas, and just like was meditating on the mountain, and breathing life through the mountain. And just once you sit in the meditation up on the mountains, you allow your energy to go through you and into the mountain and spreading out throughout the earth. Like so what I got with this experience was that when a person sits and meditate and just spreads its vibration, it can have an effect on the world just by sitting on a mountain in Himalaya. So it felt like it was a Tibetan monk or something like that, just sitting there meditating, throwing out energy through the mountains. Real powerful.
Yeah, that's cool. And that was the first day. Do you want to say anything more about the first day?
No, not really. It was as I said, quite similar in terms of experience from the ayahuasca, but it didn't feel like it was it. Like I felt like there was more to it than I had experienced. Like I could go deeper. There was still something to unravel before I found my true self. Yeah.
So perhaps we should jump to the second day, because then things start to become really interesting, to say the least.
Yeah.
And this day we took mushrooms, psilocybin, and
for me, I didn't take anything.
Yeah, exactly. You decided to be completely sober and see if you could come into this vibration without any help.
What I wanted to try to experience was that I could feel all these vibrations and all these things during the first day when I was on cannabis. I wanted to see are the same things there when I'm sober. Yeah. Is it just that they are so subtle that I can't notice them? But are they there? Yeah. Can I go into this experience even though it's on a more subtle level? Yeah. So that's what I tried to do with it.
Yeah.
And
And I don't really remember how it was in the beginning, but I became affected by the mushroom. I didn't have a breakthrough experience, and I remember thinking that I was experiencing things, but I couldn't really break through, not even the way you and I had done so many times, or as we did during the ayahuasca experience. And Niklas, one of the guys, he kind of aligned pretty quickly, I could see. And then you also did it, and a third of the person is called John. Do you remember this? When you three sat in front of in the living room, and I was like frustrated because I could see that you was in this state that I couldn't reach. Yeah. Could you describe that state you were in? And you were sober, by the way.
Yeah, I was. That was interesting that I could experience it. It was more subtle, but it was still the same feelings, still the same sensation, like just feeling. I don't know how to put words into it, but just feeling this bliss state within you, just like peace and quiet, and it was just the stillness and going into this higher vibration and just feeling that your self expanded, like you were. Yeah, it's hard to put words into, but yeah, felt like bliss.
Yeah, and the whole group, I think how many were we? Were we, four, our brother, not brother, then 3 girls, I think.
Yeah.
So 7 people.
Yeah.
And it was really powerful. I mean, the love during this week was just amazing, during this night as well. But I remember struggling with, because you, Niklas and John, found this kind of state of being that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I couldn't really reach it. And I remember struggling with feelings like I had been trying, to wake up to God. I was longing for God so much. And I've been on the spiritual path for 20 years. And I was struggling with feelings like, why can't I come into God? What's the problem? What I'm doing, what I am doing wrong? How do I do this? Why I'm not let in, And I was really trying, and I could see that you guys were laughing and you were like teasing me as well. Don't you get it, Magnus? Because you had found something about, you were being in the now, and you could see the now from another perspective, from a higher perspective.
Yeah, that's what happens. You just become so wrapped into the now. You just become so present, and everything becomes so clear when you're there in this state of mind.
Yeah, and I remember being kind of what have I done? How can I reach that state of mind? I was kind of struggling for a long time.
Yeah, and the problem is the reason why you're not getting there is you're asking the question why.
Yeah, and you're trying.
You're trying. It's
and Niklas, the other friend, was like, well, just come sit by us and play some music.
Yeah.
Let it go.
Yeah.
And basically he knew how to help me. So we started just chatting, and I just dropped it after an hour or so and started, playing some music and chit chat basically. And then suddenly, about snap, I saw it.
Yeah.
I was totally in the now, and I saw what it was all about. And this is really hard to explain.
Yeah.
Because nothing changed, but everything changed.
Yeah. It's just
you just realize that it's all about this.
Yeah.
What's here? This right here, right now.
Yeah.
And nothing is different about the now. It's just that you realize this is it. This is what all the people are searching for. It's right here.
Yeah.
Right now. And it's hard to understand. It's hard to describe this experience where you get the aha moment. It's about this, because you suddenly just you become so present.
Yeah.
And you realize that everything you need is in the now. There's no need for anything else. And it was like a birth of my consciousness right there and right then.
Yeah.
And I just saw it. And I remember thinking, and I really connected with the divine inside. I could deeply feel my divine spark in this consciousness that is the now.
Yeah.
And I connected so deeply and in an instant. And I also remember feeling that when I woke up to this now and realized what the now is, I just connected to the intuition so strongly. And I just knew that, okay, this was a birth. I felt enlightened.
Yeah.
It was an enlightened experience where I just realized what the now was. I can't put words to it today. I realized it in that moment, and I also realized that, okay, from this point on, it's about exploring the self and the aspects of it. But I could see what the self was, and now it was just kind of expanding into consciousness and exploring consciousness more and more. But it was a birth.
Yeah.
That was how I experienced it. And you was there, John was there. And then during the evening, everyone woke up.
Yeah, from time to time.
And
people fell out of it, some came back to it, and it was back and forth all the time.
And also, during this experience, I remembered something very interesting. I remembered that I had experienced this awakening during the ayahuasca.
Yeah.
But when the ayahuasca lead my body, I forgot that I had been in an enlightened state during that evening. And I remember thinking that I was that, but I actually was temporarily, because the ayahuasca took me into an enlightened state for a while. But when I came out of it, I forgot about it.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware that I had been enlightened.
Yeah, it's like a dream.
But now it came back to me, and I remember it very clearly. Yeah. And I was back there again. So this was actually not the first time. It was the second time I realized that I had experienced this before. And then all of us woke up during this evening. But as you said, the interesting thing was that we were shifting in and out of it.
Yeah.
I could see, and you can clearly see when someone was in and when someone was not in it.
Yeah.
And I remember the girl Aileen that was with us. She was enlightened also, and we was laughing and enjoying, this bliss. And then a little bit later during the evening, she was out of it, and she couldn't remember that she was in it. I was talking about, don't you remember? You were enlightened just a half an hour ago. And she was just totally oblivious to it. She didn't know anything about it. She couldn't remember it. But then she was pulled back in and was laughing about it. And this was going on the entire night. People was falling in and out, and I was falling out. But the interesting thing here was that we was pulling each other in. There was always one or two people who was in there.
Yeah.
That could, and when you were in the enlightened state, you could help the others to come back.
Yeah.
And I remember channeling the information that basically everything is taken care of. We don't have to do anything. God is in control. We only need to enjoy the ride. And I also learned that this group is part of our personal awakening process, because we will help each other to align when someone get disaligned.
Yeah.
So this evening was really cool, and more cool stuff happened. But perhaps you want to share something as well.
Yeah, it's the thing that happens as well when you get into this state of consciousness. It's you become conscious of your consciousness.
Yeah.
You become aware of your awareness,
and
then you realize that you have always been aware.
Yeah.
You have always been awakened. It's just that you fail to realize it.
Yeah.
Because you're constantly swept in by your thoughts. You get into thoughts loops and you get stuck in the thoughts, and you fall away from your awareness.
Yeah.
So that was just an interesting thing. It didn't feel like I discovered something new. It felt like I discovered something that's always there.
Yeah.
And it was and as you said, there's nothing really changing except your view on things. It's the same room, it's the same people, it's the same environment, but it's something just shifts within you.
Yeah.
And you really start to see it. And when you really start to see it, you really get to experience it.
Yeah.
Like you go and you drink a glass of water, you taste the water, you become aware of the water, and it's like that with everything. Once you make this shift, you become so aware of everything.
And during this night, in the beginning, we were shifting in and out of it, and we were helping each other back, and we kind of played with this for a few hours. But after a while, I established myself in this awakened, enlightened state of being, and it became much more profound once I had established myself in it. And I didn't fall out it anymore during the night. I was in it for several hours, and then things really started to become interesting. Because during this experience, when I established myself, because I was on psychedelics, I became aware of different dimensions, parallel dimensions, where I could actually see. This is also very hard to explain, but I could see deeper aspects of reality than just the physical at the same time as I was in the physical reality. And I was exploring this with John when we were talking. He was in it as well, and when I spoke, I not only spoke with my words, but I could also feel the energy on the energy level that was transmitted through the words, and I could connect with that. So I was aware of a lot more detail and layers of reality during this state of being. And I could also visually see other dimensions. I can't really explain it today, but it was so mind-blowing. But it was also absolutely natural. It was nothing new to me because I already know it. I understood everything I experienced. I was amazed, but immediately as the experience came, I knew what it was about. I understood it intuitively. It was just there. All knowledge was there. When I experienced it, I knew exactly what I was experiencing and how it happened.
And it's interesting when you talk about the way you say things. I mean, we can relate to that in everyday life as well. If you say, like, you use a really scrawny voice, people are not going to really listen to you. And if you talk with a clear voice, people will be, like, really captivated by you. But then there's another layer where you speak from this God vibration, source vibration, and then it's just something happens when you speak from that vibration. People start, like, something happens,
and you can suck them in. And I remember during this night it became even more interesting because I went deeper and deeper into this. I went higher and higher in this state of being. And at the end of the night I felt like, you know, a full-blown guru, if you like Ramana Maharshi. I was just bathing in this intuition, this energy, this divine energy, and I was going higher and higher in vibration. And I remember sitting in the sofa and I was feeling like God, basically. And the two girls, Ellen and Amanda, was out of it for a while. And I kind of was in a bad mood, and I was in this enlightened state, full enlightened state, and I remember that I could help them. So I started talking to them with this soft voice, but I was also transmitting energy to them. So I was kind of putting them into a meditative state. And I was just following my voice, and I remember they saying, like, it's something about your voice. I just want to hear you talk more. And then when I was talking, I just knew that they were ready. I just snapped my finger and said, now! And they woke up. So I woke them up with a snap of my fingers, literally, and said, now! And they just popped, and they were awake. They were enlightened again. So, and I just knew I don't know, I just knew I could do this. I knew exactly what I would. Now, today, I don't know what I did. But then I knew exactly what I did. It was.
I was sitting in the other side of the room, and as I mentioned, not taking any psychedelics and at all. So I was just fully sober, and it was just interesting to sit there and just witness it. From this perspective. Exactly as you said, there were these two people there, and you were just talking and snapping your fingers, and I could see them like plopping into it.
They must light up, and you can see in their eye, and they looked at me, and they saw the surprise. What did you do? And we were just laughing but I knew exactly what I did. It was like I had done this for 1,000 years. I was just like this guru, and I had tuned into. I don't know where the knowledge came from. It was just inside me. And I didn't think about it. I wasn't surprised. I just
acted it out.
It was in me. But it was so interesting that I could actually wake people up with just snapping my fingers. But I had to, you know, put them in this state of being before. I was kind of have this guided meditation with them where I told them to relax, feel their body, and I just knew that now I have them in this, you know, right condition. Then I snapped my fingers, and that was kind of, I did some energy burst, I think, and they just plopped. Really interesting experience, and I was in this state of being the whole night, and the
third day we went on to try an ayahuasca.
Before that, I want to talk about the morning after.
Okay,
because the interesting thing here that was new was that I remembered this clearly. Because as I said earlier, I remembered during this evening that I had been in this enlightened state during the ayahuasca ceremony as well, but I had forgotten about it the day after. This time I remembered it. That was the key difference. I now knew I was not enlightened the morning after, because I was enlightened with the help of I came into the enlightened state of being with the help of psychedelics. But remembering it was a really big deal. And I also knew that was a big deal, because then you knew that you have been there. You remember how it was like. And I remember all of us could kind of tune into this.
Yeah, at least you were there scratching on it a little
Yeah,
bit.
you could feel subtle that when you were disaligned and when you were aligned, but it wasn't really there, but you could sense it the day after, that by being present and being aware, you kind of aligned to it to some degree, even the day after.
Yeah, and I think we still had the vibrations within us as well. That's really helpful.
Yeah.
And I just was quickly mention also, I really liked the constellation of the group, because it really gave a two perspective of the divine. You got the masculine and the feminine side.
Yeah.
So I just remember when I was watching, we had a good mix of both men and women.
Yeah.
And it was just so beautiful to see, both the men acting out their divinity, and also the feminine energy coming in and acting out the feminine divine energy. So that was just a beautiful thing.
And how different people's enlightened states of being are very different.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same, but
the expression of it
is different. Yeah. One of them was very kind of this motherly guru.
Yeah.
But also for oneself, because during this night, when I snapped my fingers, I felt almost like non-human, like very high vibrating, and I also actually communicated with aliens, some kind of beings. I remember right now that I had contact with some beings that pretty much said they were checking on us, but they didn't say much more. But we were being observed by higher beings of what we were doing.
Okay.
So I had that connection for a brief moment, and I didn't think more about it, because I have channeled with and talked with beings before on psychedelics. So I was like, they're here. Yeah. And I also, one of the other, John, actually had a visual, saw a ship.
Yeah, I remember that. There was that evening.
Yeah,
he
said he saw a ship, actually, and also Nicholas had not a visual feeling, but a feeling of a presence of some beings. So I'm very open to that idea. I don't know.
Who knows?
But it was very real for me at the moment, so I believe it.
Yeah.
And I believe there are a lot of life throughout the universe.
For sure.
I think some of them are very highly evolved.
To think that we are the only living intelligence in this universe, looking at the vastness of space, I don't think that's very...
And I think one of the most comforting messages during this night was that when I channeled information that everything's taken care of. Yeah. You don't have to worry. It will happen. Just enjoy the ride. But of course...
And that's something you really need in order to be in this. As we mentioned, in order to experience this state of being, you need to be fully present in the now. And if you go and relaxed, worry about things, or you think, what's going to happen in the future, what happened in the past, you're instantly taken away from the moment. Yeah. And just the fact and the understanding that everything is as it should be. Yeah. Everything is taken care of. Yeah. That allows you to go into this present moment and just enjoy it as much as possible.
Yeah, and this experience this night it is possible to at least temporarily become enlightened with help of psychedelics.
Yeah, you get to experience enlightenment. That's
and it's no doubt that that's what you're experiencing. You just know it. But to the third day.
Yeah, the ayahuasca. I don't think we should talk too much about it.
I can mention it.
Yeah, we tried out ayahuasca as well, and
we made our own ayahuasca. We bought ingredients and made our own brew.
So I mean, it tasted horrible. That's the the thing I remember most of it. But it didn't really hit us that strong, and I think that's, looking back at it right now in hindsight, I think that's a good thing. Yeah. Because if we would have had a full-blown experience, we didn't have any shaman and we didn't have any help who was sober.
Yeah.
So I think it was a good thing that we didn't really get a strong
Ayahuasca
experience.
is really powerful, and you shouldn't play with it. You should have someone sober taking care of you. We didn't, but I didn't really feel any effects at all, except just puking and going to the toilet every minute, basically.
So you get the bad part of ayahuasca, not the good
get
part.
all the bad parts, but none of the cool part at all. So it was a bummer in that way, but
I got a little bit of an experience. I got some visuals and some connection with ayahuasca, but very, very slim.
Yeah.
But it was a nice evening nonetheless. But nothing mind blowing, nothing really worth mentioning, I think. But I think if you're gonna do ayahuasca, don't do as we did. I think go find a real shaman.
As we did the first time.
Yeah, exactly. So do it in a safe environment.
Controlled environment.
I think we would have been safe, but more of a controlled environment. As you said.
Because when we took ayahuasca the third time, we're not going to talk about it today.
Yeah.
We actually could see how powerful it can be.
Yeah, it can.
It can
really
be even more powerful than the first time. So, but that will be a future episode.
Yeah, but I think we go on and talk about the fourth evening, because I think that's the strongest one.
Yeah, that was the main event, I think, basically.
Yeah, and I just remember when I took the psychedelics, it was it really hit me like bam. It hit me straight on in the face. Yeah. And I just remember I got a little bit of not panic, but usually when you take it, it takes about 45 minutes, and then it goes slowly and eventually builds up to a strong experience. But what happened was, like, after 20 minutes, it was bam, like a really strong experience.
Super intense.
Yeah, the most intense experience I ever had. And I talked about a few of them prior in this podcast series as well that have been really. So I was struggling. I was just sitting there in the beginning, just trying to get a hold of myself and get a hold of this experience.
Yeah.
And I found that the only thing that helped was I couldn't handle any music. I couldn't handle people talking. I just wanted to, all right, I want to be with myself a little bit. Just try to find myself within this high vibration that I felt I was moving towards. So I started just walking around outside of the house in the grass, just back and forth. Like I just started having this a little bit of a comfortable feeling, walking left, right.
You were doing this for quite a while as well.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, perhaps more than an hour.
Yeah,
I don't know. So it was some time to get adjusted to this. And in the beginning, it was just the feeling of the body was just, it became so intense. And I just remember going into a small cabin and just lying down there, trying to gather myself. And it was nice to go into a small cabin, because then I didn't have to take in the whole experience of the whole universe in one moment. I could just take in the small cabin and try to get a grip on that. And so I kept walking back and forth and going into the cabin and just gathering myself. But after a while, it kind of hit me like, okay, this obviously isn't going to go away in the first time. So I need to find a way to really get comfortable with this experience. So I just lie down in the cabin and I just looked up in the ceiling and I tried to just see what it is. Like, take it from an observer's perspective. Not think about how is this affecting my body, what is happening. Just try to silence all the thoughts and just observe. Yeah. And when I observed and just look at it, and how does this feel? How does this experience change me? Yeah. And then when I just observed it and relaxed into it, I was just, well, this is actually feeling quite good. Yeah. I'm in this super high vibration, and I was struggling against it, and that was what's causing all the
intense feelings.
When I just relaxed into it and just looked at it, what is this? it just became peaceful. Like a really nice experience. And then when I walked out, I opened up the door, and that was just a mind-blowing experience. I just remember looking at the sky and the ocean and everything, and I could feel like, this is me.
Yeah.
I'm looking at myself.
Yeah.
I'm all this. This is what I am. It's like, and I had some visuals, but it was just such a strong feeling within me, like, this is who I am. And I had, prior to this, read a lot about Ramana Maharshi and this famous guru in India, reading about these things and trying to understand what does it really feel like. And I just, when I walked in the grass, it was like the whole universe was walking with me.
Yeah.
Like when I took a step with my left foot, like the entire universe took a step with the left foot.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how I can actually explain this experience to make it even a percentage of the feeling that it actually was. But it felt like with every step I took, I know Buddha talked about this as well, that when he touched the ground, it was like the whole earth was moving. Yeah. It was exactly like that. Like when I was moving, it felt like the whole universe was moving.
Yeah.
And eventually I gathered myself and was able to just go inside and meet up with you guys again.
Yeah.
And in the beginning I couldn't handle any music, so I was sitting outside and looking at nature, just feeling how I was everything. Like I was connected with everything. And I had this experience before, but this was just more.
Yeah.
There's more of everything. You can always experience more of everything. Yeah. Like you can be more the universe. You can be, it just expands. There's no limit on how deep you can go into this. And this was just a whole new level for me, at least.
Yeah.
So right about the time I started to adjust into this vibration, you came out running from your experience.
And I need to talk about what happened before I came out running, because that's quite important to the story. When we started the trip, and I took, we used another psychedelic this time called
some powder,
psilocybin in powder form, called like Aco GMT4 or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but it's pretty much psilocybin in powder form, and I took quite a lot in the beginning, but I didn't feel any effect at all. And after a while, I took some more, and this was a really big dosage. Still didn't feel anything. I just felt this feeling of unease inside of me that just grew stronger and stronger. I remember sitting outside by myself and just feeling pretty much miserable and depressed. And also, feeling like I wanted to break through and have the same experience as the day before.
Yeah.
So, and I had taken really big dose, more than I ever taken. But I didn't feel anything. And Niklas came out and started to talk to me, and I was like, no. And he kind of, is it about me? Because we had this little issue between each other, but no, it's not about you. It's something inside me. I don't feel good. I went inside and laid in the sofa. I think I actually before this, I took some mushrooms, some dried mushrooms as well. And smoked cannabis. I mean, I was taking everything.
Yeah.
A huge dose of everything. It was just insane when I think back at it. But I just felt that I need to push through. I just have this strong feeling I need to push through, no matter what. So I took, like this insane amount of psychedelics. I don't know how much it ended up, but
a lot.
But still, I didn't feel any effects. It was just so weird. And I was laying down in the sofa, and I felt just so miserable. And this familiar feeling came to me that I described that the day before, that this deep sorrow inside. And I have touched this sorrow many times before during psychedelic sessions, and the feeling was very strong that why am I not let in? Why can't God just let me in?
Yeah.
And it's been, the human life be done with. Pretty much that feeling. And it was feeling really depressing. And next to me, like Ellen and Amanda, and they were having this, breakthrough experience, was in a really good place. And Amanda, I think, was in this enlightened state again. And I was just lying there miserable. And she came up and, gave me a hug and gave me love. And I felt the love, but I couldn't take it in. I was just unable to, embrace that love that she was offering me.
Yeah.
And it felt worse and worse. And suddenly I have this deep insight that I don't love myself. I had always fooled myself that I loved myself. I had been on the spiritual path for 20 years and I had no problem, saying into the mirror, I love myself. I am God, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And felt pretty good about that. And I felt I'm a person that kind of feel quite confident about myself. But I realized that I do not love myself. It was just in my face. I don't. And this was, a big defeat. This realization. I had been working on myself for years, but still I was on square one. That was how it felt. I don't love myself. And I started saying to myself, I love myself, I love myself, I love myself, but it felt hollow and false.
Yeah.
It didn't work. It didn't work. And I just gave up. I don't know. I didn't know what to do. And then I was in contact, and then God told me, no, I had this realization that, but I can always love God. I can always give love to God because I do love God. That felt true.
Yeah.
I didn't love myself, but I did love God. And I just started crying like a baby. But then I realized another layer that I am God. So by loving God, I am actually loving myself.
Yeah.
And then I realized everything is God. All human beings are love. And I just have this deep, deep realization that by loving others, by giving love to my fellow human beings and to God, I am actually giving love to myself. And it will turn around and land in me.
Yeah.
And this realization, I was just so shaken about it. First, that I realized that I didn't love myself. But then I kind of had a solution. And I was alone at this time. The girls had gone outside. All of you were outside. And I just felt I need to go out to the group and to give everyone a hug and kind of show them my love. I just felt I have to do it. So I was really shaking. I could hardly walk.
Yeah.
And I walked outside and I don't remember what I said, but I said, I need to give you a hug, all of you.
Yeah.
So I gave everyone a hug and then I just snapped. Something happened inside that was the most powerful experience I ever had.
Yeah.
I just started laughing and absolute joy and happiness that was I cannot put word. I didn't realize that you could feel so goddamn good. I was just laughing. I was applauding myself because this was a much higher state than I was in the previous state. This was the real awakening. Yeah. I just felt this is the true enlightenment.
Yeah, I just remember exactly those words as you said. I can't understand how you can feel this good. I mean, it's everything. There was nothing that could touch you. You were just in this space within yourself with joy, with ecstasy, with love, with happiness in levels you haven't experienced before, and it was just it was just there.
And I had a complete transformation. I mean, none of you knew who I was.
There was a completely different person walking out that had been in my you had been my brother for my whole life, and this was a completely new version, but new person, but it felt more real, like the real you.
It was a genuine me.
It was the real you that you let out.
And I was laughing and I was just pulling jokes and And I mean, I remember everyone was so affected by this because I had such a huge snap. The build up to this experience was the tension, and it's just snapped, and this flood of love and happiness. I mean, happiness. I didn't realize what happiness was until this experience. I was just I felt so good. It was insane.
Yeah.
And I remember just feeling this enormous love inside of me. I mean, it was indescribable, and I had this big realization that about oneness. I mean, you and I had these experiences of oneness when, with the definition, you know, being one with universe, one with God, and you kind of, you get out of your body. But now I really realize there's another aspect to oneness, and that's together with people. That's also together with people. That's oneness as well. Yeah, being just human.
And I just remember what we did when we went into this experience. We just sat down, we were talking with each other, singing, eating, just doing everyday thing. But it was just, I can't. How do you explain that state of mind? It's just, everyone lost just, for words.
Yeah, and I remember you, the others, was just pulled into this energy.
Yeah.
I mean, you was already in it, but this joy that came out of me was just affecting everyone, and suddenly everyone was just sitting there feeling the best time of their lives. And I remember we were talking about, and I realized, why the hell do I don't feel like this? I will never. I mean, I realized it's a choice.
Yeah.
Feeling good.
Yeah.
And I was just realizing, what the hell I've been doing all my life? Why I'm not feeling like this? I could feel this every day.
Yeah.
It's just a choice away, and it was insane. And I realized I'm never going to feel bad again. But of course, I have been feeling bad again. But because this experience didn't last forever, but it was amazing. And for the rest of the night, I was such in a high state. It's just impossible to describe.
Yeah, I mean, all the other experiences, everything else that had happened was nothing to compare to this, because this felt like for the first time that if I would have to describe enlightenment or anything, higher state of consciousness or anything, this was it.
Yeah.
I mean, all the other experiences was just glimpses of, I mean, they had been powerful, they had been loving experience, but this was just something else. It was just so within you. You were so in line with this vibration, this feeling.
In the beginning, it was, this ecstasy of joy and happiness, but that kind of toned down, and you became more relaxed after a while, because that was the switch for me. And but then I became more, like I wasn't just sitting laughing, but I felt 100% peace inside.
Yeah,
I mean, the peace is indescribable. It was inside my heart. It was 100% stillness.
Yeah, I just remember it, but. And I think I said to, was Amanda or someone, like, just listen. And everyone just stopped, and she stopped, and it's like, there's nothing there. There's nothing interrupting this happiness. There's nothing interrupting this love, this feeling. It was like nothing could touch it. It was just like you were in a box where nothing could touch this stillness within you, and it was just so peaceful.
And you were there, I was there.
Yeah, and I need to tell the story about when our other brother, he was like he hadn't adapted to this fully,
and exactly. A few people were out. Amanda was in this enlightened state.
Yeah,
you and I, Niklas, but John wasn't there, Elin wasn't there, and Johan wasn't there.
Yeah, and I just remember looking at Johan, my brother, and I saw that he looked at you, and he tried to figure out what was happening with him. And I just looked at him and was sitting next to him, and I said, don't you realize it's all here? Or something like that. Yeah. I think that was what I said. I can't remember. And I could just see the moment, the shift happen in his eyes. It's like his eyes just turned on. He's like, his pupils just expanded, and he's like, whoa. And he's just... In the beginning, he's starting feeling really nauseous, and I think Niklas helped him out. Yeah. But afterwards, when he was like a few minutes, he came back, and he's like, he was there. He was experiencing the same thing that we were experiencing.
And I remember him saying that he saw it in my eyes.
Yeah.
That he just saw enlightenment.
Yeah.
And in that moment realized he was looking at himself.
Yeah.
He couldn't put words to it. It was just something else snapped inside of him.
And that's an interesting thing when you say about the eyes, because I have always had a little bit of an problem looking at people's eyes. I can't usually... I get a little bit of an uncomfortable feeling if I look into people's eyes for long extended time.
Yeah.
And I just remember when I was in this state of consciousness, when I was looking at people in their eyes, and I didn't break my look, my vision. I just kept looking at them in their eyes. I just saw myself.
Yeah.
I saw myself in everyone I was looking at, and everything I was touching, everything I was eating, it was just everything was the self.
Yeah. And you have no worries, no problems. You were complete harmony. And I also remember after I was sitting there like this, I was like a guru this night as well. I just remember I had full connection with my intuition. And John, he was like feeling bad because he didn't break through, and so many of us.
He was sober that evening, or maybe no, he just smoked weed.
Yeah, he had smoked some weed, and he kind of, well, why didn't this happen? He was kind of down because this didn't happen to him, and I just said, don't worry, it's gonna happen tomorrow. I just knew it.
Yeah.
And I had 100% sure knowledge that he would break through tomorrow, the day after. I just knew it. And whatever he asked me, I knew the answer.
Yeah.
And I also have a lot of realizations that I had been searching for these grand experiences of, being one with God and leaving my body and, feeling one with the universe. But this was completely different. This time I felt like, no, that's shit. Well, that's all there.
Yeah.
But it's not time for that now. Now it's time to be human fully.
Yeah, and to understand what it means to be a human.
So it was really down to earth enlightenment when I felt like all the insights was, like this one I said before, it's oneness also means together as human beings.
Yeah.
And it means being kind and being human. And, like being human as perfectly as you can. Then when you have mastered being human, then you go on to this other cool stuff. But there's a whole world of learning how to be human first.
Yeah, and I just think of the words that Maharaji Nemkarori Baba, he had this, when people asked him, how Maharaji, how do I reach enlightenment? And he said, love people. Love everyone.
Yeah.
Serve everyone and remember God.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
And I mean, you can look at it and try to sit in a cave for 40 years just going within yourself, but I think those 3 words sums it up.
Yeah.
What I feel is enlightenment for me. That's love everyone, serve everyone, remember God.
I also remember one thing that I had a definition about enlightenment prior to this. Yeah. And that is that you have to experience the nothingness that Buddha talks about, and to, become full enlightened. And I remember thinking about it during this experience, and I felt, well, I'll look into that some other time. And I was content because I knew that it's not the time right now, and everything is good as it is, and everything will happen the way it's supposed to happen. And I didn't care about it.
No.
Because I knew, well, it's not time today, so...
Yeah, it will happen when it happens.
Yeah. But that experience is also there, and I have looked more into that experience after that.
Yeah.
But during that time, I was like, well, it's perfect right now. I don't have to do it right now. It will happen when it happens, and I will know when it's time. And I also realized, that was really mind-blowing as well. I was sitting there at a table, and we were all talking, and everything was, like perfect. And then I realized, oh my God, it's absolutely quiet in my head.
Yeah.
No thoughts.
Nothing.
At all. If I wasn't, focusing on a specific thought myself, but nothing was, chatting in the background.
Yeah, but even when you were thinking, there was this silence experiencing the thought. Yeah. You weren't caught in the thought. You were experiencing the thought. It felt like it was an external object that you were looking at. But nothing could break away this just observer, this consciousness.
And I was just like 100% present with my fellow beings.
Yeah.
And I'm a person that I usually when I'm a person that I have a really hard time being present, and when I talk to people I kind of drift away and stuff.
Yeah.
But there's none of that at that time. I was
it was just full
all
present.
there. And I remember also Elin saying, because she was not there, she didn't have a breakthrough, but she was just amazed by the energy pouring out of us, and being in our presence was
it was amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing.
I mean, if it's something that I want to take away from that experience, where it feels like where is my life heading right now, it's that experience.
Yeah,
I want to find that experience. I want to have that.
So basically, and then this was the 4th day, and then the 5th day, when I woke up the day after, I was not in this state. So of course.
Mention one. When I tried to go to sleep that evening, I couldn't fall asleep.
No, not my.
And it didn't matter, because I felt so good. I mean, when you try to sleep, I think it was 4, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. Then you usually get restless. But how now I'm going to be really tired tomorrow. I need to fall asleep. I need to fall asleep. Nothing like that. I felt completely present, and I didn't feel tired at all. And I could feel that my body started to feel that it needed rest. But in my awareness, I was crystal sharp.
Yeah. And also, it's impossible to be bored by just lying, staring into the darkness.
Yeah, it's amazing.
You're just lying there and feeling 100% good.
Oh, now I'm laying here about, well, what can I do with this? Oh yeah, I can feel totally good about myself, totally good about everything that's happening around me. I can just go into this experience and experience it. Because never boredom.
In everyday life, it's hard for a lot of people, including myself, just to sit and do absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to sleep and you're awake and just lying there is a drag.
Yeah.
But in this state of being, you can just sit for hours upon hours, and it's awesome.
Yeah,
absolutely awesome.
Very awesome.
Everything was awesome.
Yeah, but eventually, I think we fell asleep. All of us slept a few hours. Then it was a new day, and it felt like I had lost the thing that was there the evening before. But yeah, I figured, all right, that when I'm ready, it will happen. It will come to me again.
So that was exactly. You knew that everything's all right. It's gonna happen.
Yeah,
sooner or later.
So I wasn't really bummed out that it was gone or something like that. It just felt okay. All right, when the time is ready, it will be there again.
Yeah.
And the last we can cover the last night, the last day as well, quite quickly. Otherwise the episode is going to be a real long one, but anyways, so the last night wasn't really about our experiences. It was more this one guy who hadn't had its experience
John
before.
And I also knew as I said, that I knew that he would have his break this day, and he was stalling, but I knew it. So it was basically his day, and he sure did break through.
Yeah, he did really break through, and I think Niklas really helped him a lot, and he played a beautiful part with this, and all the things that he did was just really cool. And I just remember one thing, John really had his experience, and he has such a powerful and beautiful way of expressing it. He's really vocal, and he becomes like really energetic.
Super passionate.
So it's really cool to see him just finally, to get it and to go into this experience. It was just really nice to see it. And one thing that really blew my mind that happened and has happened since then as well was that I could really sense and feel like the whole universe around me was just, everything was just connected. And I keep saying that, but I experienced this at a whole new level. I just remember that I had this sensation that everything is me, like we had the day before, but it was just a new level. Like I just remember when I had my feelings inside, like I feeling joyous and then feeling more and more joy. The outside world was reflecting that in real time. So when I was feeling happiness, the whole room just. I'm not saying that I controlled the room. It was just a simultaneous thing that happened when John was expressing his joy. That really synchronize exactly what I felt within myself. And the moment I started feeling a little bit of hesitation to something, I could see that it was happening to him as well. So everything in the room, the same vibration, the same feeling was just traveling around the room and affecting everyone. Yeah. So it was just cool to see that.
Yeah, and the last night was all about, hanging out, we were smoking weed and just having a good time basically for the rest of the night. And no pressure of, breaking through, because as you said, you had experience and you knew now that even though it wasn't permanent, it's all right. It will happen when it's supposed to happen, and we could just relax to that. And so basically the retreat was awesome. The information that I channeled that you can use psychedelics to become enlightened was true in a sense, but it wasn't permanent. But my God, did we get a big fat taste of enlightenment. Yeah. And it was just the most amazing experience. And what happened after this, you kind of fell back into your normal self, but that's okay, because now we have the memory of this, we have experienced this, and it's
and it's like you get to know, you get to see on the map where the treasure is. Now you just need to start making the walk over there. And also what happened after this is you recognize the feelings that will help you get there. You recognize the patterns, the things you need to do. So aligning in your everyday life is much easier. Sometimes it's hard, but it's much easier. So this retreat changed my life. It's just, I can explain how much it changed my life, and this was only the beginning. I know we say this all the time, but it is always the beginning. It's always the beginning. It's always getting bigger and bigger. That's something I accepted some time ago, that it's just going to grow. Even as I realized, when you get fully enlightened, it will still grow. Otherwise the experience would, you still need to expand your experience. So it's an always changing experience. So that in order to have an experience, there needs to be change. So there will always be change. There will always be more to experience. So just enjoy what's happening right now and take it all in. And when you're ready, when you're supposed to get that enlightenment or whatever you want to call it, it will happen to you. I mean, the worst thing I think you can do is trying to chase something or trying to worry that I'm not happy until that, or this needs to happen before I can be happy. And I also think that one important thing, as a message through this retreat, is that, because you and I had been struggling with this question before, are psychedelics a good tool, a spiritual tool, or is it, like just fooling yourself? But I think it's obvious to me, at least, that as long as you don't think that will do all the work, I mean, using it this way, having these experiences, it's a game changer. I mean, I know that I will fall back to my normal self, but remembering these experiences, they do change me. They do accelerate my spiritual path. And I think where you can make the mistake if you try to make psychedelics the way, and not use the psychedelics as a tool, because the way is something that's within you. All the pieces of the puzzle is something that needs to happen within you, and you can use whichever tool that you feel is necessary, whichever tool you feel is good for you. If you want to use psychedelics because that helps you unravel the puzzle or create the puzzle within you, then use it. That's and if you want to sit and meditate, then do that. If you want to do yoga, whatever you feel is necessary for you to do your inner progress, to do your inner journey. But I'm certain that other people can replicate what we did this summer. For sure. And experience the very same thing. So at least, I mean, people know that it's possible, and it will change your life for sure. And as Maharaji say, that when Ramdas asked him, and Maharaji was this, we talked about it in a previous episode, he was this enlightened person like far up there.
Yeah.
He didn't he wasn't even affected by psychedelics when Ramdas gave in a dosage for like 5 people. Nothing happened because he was already there. He said that you can use the yogi medicine as he said it, as he described it, and he said, as long as you focus on God.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good thing. If you use it in the right setting, if you use it in the right purpose, then it's a good tool.
And as you said, don't think it's the way, but it's a tool.
Yeah.
But it's a very, very powerful tool, and it has completely changed my life. And also, as we will discuss in upcoming episodes, this was just beginning. We have tuned into these enlightened states many times after this, or at least a few times. And what happened after this is that we could start. We were basically mind blown during this retreat, but after this we could actually start looking at what was happening and see patterns and start applying them in our normal life. So there was even more to use of this. So we will talk about that in upcoming episodes, I guess.
Yeah. So I think that's it for today. So as always, be sure to check out Maldorma.com for all the other episodes. We have 3 books now. One of them is in English. The
2 of them are in English.
2 of them, sorry. Yeah.
My books, The Illusion and a book about love and happiness.
Yeah, mine is available in Swedish. Magnus's book also available in Swedish. Mine is being translated right now, so hopefully we will have it ready for the US crowd in a couple of months or so.
Yeah.
We'll see. So be sure to check them out. We also have
and
courses and stuff like that.
Meditation courses, lectures and things like that. I could also say that a book about love and happiness, this technique that I talked about, that book is actually free on our website as an ebook. So you can download it for completely free if you would like to.
And that's a nice thing.
Yeah.
So thank you all for this episode.
Yeah. Thank you for listening.
Bye.
Bye-bye.